He talked to a game that's been flexed, a game that was at 1 o'clock on Sunday and now is Sunday Night Football, and that is the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, we've heard the stories about the Colts all week long. We've heard that Joe Flacco will be starting over Anthony Richardson after he was benched for tapping himself out last week versus the Houston Texans. Now, we understand he wasn't really benched because he tapped himself out. He was, quote, playing bad. No, you tapped yourself out, man. That's why you're getting benched. But the Colts right now, guys, are 4-4 on the season, sitting in second place in the AFC South. The Vikings, on the other hand, started out hot. 5-0 on the season, second place in the power ranking. We're talking about Super Bowl, Kirk Cousins, who? Hello, Sam Darnold. Hello, baby. But then they lose to the Detroit Lions by 2 points, and then they lose by 10 points to the LA Rams, which I told you what was going to happen, making them 5-2 on the season. And they went from first place to third place in the NFC North over the last 2 weeks. But they are only one game behind the Detroit Lions in first place. So when we look at the Colts versus Vikings, we got to ask ourselves, who needs this game more? Who is in a must-win situation in the Colts versus the Minnesota Vikings? When you look at the Colts schedule, beyond this Sunday Night Football game, they play a team in the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills that are playing pretty damn good football right now. Then they play a team in the New York Jets. We cannot be sleeping on the Jets no more. When we talk about the Jets, if they're contenders or pretenders moving forward, but right now the Jets are on cloud 9. They're playing some good football. And then they play a team, arguably the best team in the NFL, in the Detroit Lions. And then they have a weaker opponent, air quotes there, in the New England Patriots in the upcoming 4 weeks after the Sunday Night Football game. The Minnesota Vikings. They got a little bit easier schedule. When I say easier, I mean they got a lot easier schedule. They play the Jaguars, which are terrible. They play the Titans, which are terrible. Then they play the division foe in the Chicago Bears, which will be terrible. And then, after all that, they do play the Arizona Cardinals, which is terrible. So, we see their schedules, we see their records, we see what they're playing for, so we have to ask ourselves, who needs this win more? And when I was looking at games, I'm saying, what are some must-win games for these situations? And I saw this Colts game. I saw them in second place. I saw them at 4-4. And my gut's like, you know what? The Colts need this win. The Colts need this win. If they're going to try to keep pace with the Houston Texans, they need this win. They need an easy win. They need to get right? But from what I seen last night with the Houston Texans, maybe the Texans are not that great, and they don't really need this win. And then I flash back to Monday's show and Tuesday's show and Wednesday's show when Laura was bringing up her Minnesota Vikings, and I started to ponder. I go out there into these Minnesota groups, and I see what are people saying about the Minnesota Vikings. And Laura, they've been echoing everything that you say. They say, when the Minnesota Vikings lose, they come in bunches. They don't have a one loss here or two losses here. They come in 3, 4, 5 stretches year after year after year. The Vikings now have 2 losses in a row, and they cannot lose 3 in a row because then I do believe it could come in bunches. Yes, they do play the Jaguars, Titans, and Bears, all winnable games, but when you're down on your luck, things are not looking too very good. So when we look at this game, who needs this win more? Who has to win this game to really get back on track? Like I said, my gut tells me the Colts. My gut say the Colts have to win this game. But I'm saying the Minnesota Vikings. I'm saying the Minnesota Vikings because if they want to make a playoff run and if they want to win the division, this is a must-win game. They have to break this losing streak. Yes, I know it's only 2 games, back-to-back losses. It's technically not a streak, but NFL, when you only play 18 or 17 games, 2 games is a lot. 3 games in a row is a bunch. This is a losing streak. They must get back on track. They have to break this losing streak. Now, I do understand that I've said that the Jags and Titans are not good, but they aren't that bad either, right? Meaning you cannot overlook them. And if the Vikings were to lose this game to the Indianapolis Colts, They could be licking their wounds like, oh man, here we go again. We could be talking about a quarterback change. We could be talking about who are we going to bring in to help this team? Where do we need help? Yada yada yada. And then all of a sudden you lose to the Jaguars. All of a sudden you do lose to the Titans. And those 3-game losing streak becomes a 5-game losing streak. And then now all of a sudden you're 5-5. All of a sudden you are outside of the playoffs looking in. All of a sudden you're like, oh crap, what do we do? The Indianapolis Colts, they have been here. They have done that, right? They lost to a good Texans team. Let's just be honest. They lost to a good Texas team. Joe Flacco will right the ship at some point. And the Colts always seem to play well. The Colts are a team that always plays up to the competition or down to the competition. So when they play the Buffalo Bills in Indy next week, they'll play up to the Buffalo Bills. When they play the Jets, they'll play down to the Jets. When they play the Lions, they'll play up to the Lions. So I don't expect the Colts to have bunches of losses. They have the culture. They have the mindset to really break this up. The Vikings need to stop this now. The Vikings need to stop putting the Band-Aid over the wound and go to the doctor and get it stitched up. And this week versus the Indianapolis Colts is that stitching process. They need to stop the bleeding, and they need to win. This is a must-win for the Minnesota Vikings. So, guys, when we ask the question, who needs to win this game more, let me know. In the comments below, let me know. Propane and propane accessories. We were talking about King of the Hill earlier, and I love it. Kaylee says the Colts are going to win. Kaylee says the Colts are going to go into Indianapolis, in Minnesota, and they're going to blow that skull horn. They're going to say, skull, skull, skull. They can do whatever they want. They can get hyped, but it doesn't matter. Because when the all-white horseshoes come into town, they're going to spank that baby and say, bad baby, bad baby. JJ who? Addison who? Sam, go back to New York because you're not welcome here no more. Kaylee says she's going to whoop that ass. James Frank says, Laura, I'm sorry, but Flacco riding in on his high horse, and he's going to ball. James says, flack around and find out. James says, hold my beer. Joe Flacco might be 47 years old, but damn it, he is going to go into Minnesota. He's going to whoop that ass. Man, y'all on some Colts high rider. Put those guys away. Y'all being crazy right now. You guys are all swinging from the hip saying Colts, 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 Colts. Boom. Did the whole triple flip even. Poof. Chuck Norris ain't got nothing on y'all. And Laura says, hey, let me bring some reasoning in here. Let me reel you all back in. The Vikings need it more so people can stop laughing at us. Laura says right now the Vikings are the laughing stock of the NFL. They started out 5-0. They were hot. They were sizzling, baby. We were sitting there simmering, starting to get hot. Well, we're starting to boil. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes and puts some cold water in there. Somebody comes in and puts some cold water and stopped everything. And now my kids are mad because the macaroni is not going to be done by 5 o'clock. And now my husband is mad because I'm not going to have macaroni with my fried chicken. And now everybody's laughing at us because I don't know how to cook macaroni. That's what Laura is saying is happening with the Minnesota Vikings right now. She says the Minnesota Vikings have to win so the NFL can stop laughing at us. They're not laughing at you. They're laughing with you, Laura. I kid. But you are right. The Vikings need this win more, I think. I think you're right, Laura. Kaylee says, Laura, you always will be laughed back as being a Vikings fan. Vikings get good, and then they flop. Whew. Some friendly fire happening in the comments, and I love it. Kaylee says, you know what? Every time you get your water start to boiling, every time there's a steady boiler going, I'm going to make you say, Mom, I need some help. And you're going to walk around the kitchen. Mom's going to walk this way. You come this way. You're going to pour that cold water in there, and you're going to walk around and be like, why isn't the macaroni done? Why isn't the macaroni done? You had the water boiling. What happened? Did you turn the burner down? It's just all your fault. Laura says, it's okay, y'all. She says, slow it down, baby. Vikings suck right now, and I can admit it. And I don't think the Vikings suck. I just think the Vikings are being... No, and I wouldn't say out-coached because I think Kevin O'Connell should win Coach of the Year, honestly. He's doing a great thing. It's just you played a gauntlet of a couple teams, right? The Detroit Lions, a really good team. Let's just sit back and ponder. They're a really, really good team. And the Rams, short work week on the road. Rams get back Cup. They get Nuka back, Puka back, and they're just riding the right horse. I'm just saying. Just saying. James says it's absolutely the Vikings. The Vikings need this win more. I don't think they'll win, though, says James, but I think the Vikings need it more. And James, I think you're right. I think the Vikings do need it more. Vikings are going to lose out for the rest of the season. So Laura is a Vikings fan. I see her picture. It looks like a yellow Vikings jersey. I don't know who it is. It's probably Kirk Cousins still. But as a Vikings fan, she says, we're going to lose out for the rest of the season. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen, Laura. I do not want the Chicago Bears to win any more games. I do not want the Detroit Lions to beat you guys. I don't want the Green Bay Packers to beat you guys, even though there's a cheesehead right there. Go Pack, go. They're not going to lose out. They're not going to lose out. We also have a Safeway. Man, we got into a gas station conversation, and I love it. I love it. Well, since you said the schedule, I think the Colts do. They need to start stacking up wins now. So James is flip-flopping. At first, he's like, the Vikings need it more. 2-game losing streak, lost to the Lions, lost to the Rams. They do play the Colts this week, but then they follow up the Jaguars, Titans, and Bears, and Cardinals. All very winnable games. Then we look at the Colts schedule. Bills, Jets, Lions, Patriots. James is like, you know what? Come to think of it, maybe the Colts do need this game more. Maybe the Colts need to start stacking up those wins. And James, you are correct. They need to start stacking up some wins, but they will get it when the time is due. I just think the Vikings definitely need this one. And he follows up, said, this is a hard one. This is a very hard one. This is a hard one because I don't think there is a wrong answer. The wrong answer is a tie. A tie kills both seasons. A tie kills everybody's playoff chances. So it cannot be a tie. If anything, in my blood, do not wish for a tie. If you guys wish for a tie, so help me God, I hope you kick the sofa every day for the rest of the week. Stub that baby toe over and over and over again. If you wish for a tie, I hope you drop a pickle jar on your big toe. If you hope for a tie, I hope when you bite into a pickle and you think it's a dill pickle, I hope it's just a sweet pickle and you hate it. If you wish for a tie, I hope you get a pixie stick and the pixie stick is just a little bit wet so it's all crunchy. Do not wish for a tie. But this is a very, very hard one. And Laura says, TJ Hawkinson. I'm excited to get him back. He is a dog. Hawkinson is a dog. I saw Hawkinson back in 2018, 2019 maybe. Kansas City Chiefs played the Detroit Lions. Kansas City Chiefs were undefeated at the time going into Detroit, into Ford Field. TJ Hawkinson was the man, the myth, the legend. I think Matthew Stafford was still there, if I'm not mistaken. I can't really remember for sure, to be honest. But the Lions had the Kansas City Chiefs on the ropes, getting ready to knock off the undefeated team. Hawkinson hurdles, I believe was it Eric Berry? No, it wasn't Eric Berry. Hurdled somebody. Did a front flip, broke his neck. Derailed that whole game. Lions lost because he hurdled. But he is a dog. He is a dog. I hope the Vikings play like they did last time when we played the Colts. I don't remember that game. What happened? James is asking if JT, Mr. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, not Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Jonathan Taylor, is he playing? As far as I know, JT is in. JT is healthy. I have him on my fantasy lineup, so he better be healthy because I'm tired of losing. Who needs to win more in fantasy? Buck needs a fantasy win right now. I'm like on a 4-game losing streak. I need to flip this away. JT better pay, but I do think he is in. I think JT is in 100% in this particular game. Kaylee says, but remember how good your team really is this year. And talking about the Vikings. Yes, the Bengals are good. And Laura says the Vikings are playing too safe, in my opinion. I mean, 5 interceptions for Sam Darnold this season. He has fumbled the ball 4 times, lost 1. They're playing conservative, but I don't fault it, right? I don't know. Are they playing too conservative? I'm going to dive into the Sunday night game. Probably watch it twice, if not 3 times, before we talk about it on Monday. And I'm curious to see if they're actually playing too conservative. Mark D says Vikings are fungiza. What? I don't even know what that means. Fugazi. Funzaya is an American post-hardcore band formed in Washington, D.C. in 1986. But the actual definition is faked or damaged beyond repair. So Mark is saying that the Vikings are fool's gold. They were fake to us, and they're not going to ever get better. So it is a fool's gold that's never going to be real gold, no matter how much time you paint it gold. Okay, and I can agree with that to an extent. I'm going to dive deeper into it when we get into the old contenders or pretenders coming up here on hour number 2, which is about 5 minutes away. Wow, already an hour in. Wow. Laura says it's number 33 on her jersey was Dalvin Cook before he went to 3. Why did he ever change his number? That's dumb. And Laura says, I never want a tie. Good. You've been saved. You have been saved for ridicule for another day. You've been saved for ridicule for another day. Fungizi equals fake. I know. I just looked it up. I just did the Urban Dictionary look it up. But apparently, Fungazi is I'm saying it right. Fugazi was an American